Okay.
Is that another can?
So I prefabricated the pieces, but the first thing was to cut a hole in the side of the big can and a hole in the side of the little can, and then cut both ends out. This scallop is Lee. You don't need to do this, but you can imagine
It was a better
this.
engineering
It-
feat.
That's right.
This is the
Leave it to the
firebox.
engineer.
What did you use
If
to
this
cut the
is the-
cans with?
Tin snips or a disc grinder.
Well,
One of Leonard's disc grinders.
is it electric
Like a
or?
thermal?
Right at the edge.
But
of
you
it.
see,
I don't even see a Band-Aid on
it's
it.
an electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we
did
wouldn't
good.
have electricity.
Well, you may or
Do it
may
ahead of
not.
time.
You have to make
Yeah,
this ahead
you may
of
or
time.
may not.
Yeah.
And like we say, this is something you already built and had ready to rock and roll also. That's a great tool right there.
So when we're mass producing these for resale,
Yeah.
that's what
I
you
was
use.
just gonna say Harbor Freight.
So
Yep.
if you think of this as the firebox, it's going to be on the inside. It's pretty small. And the idea is to burn kindling, twigs, cow manure, whatever. You know, it's shown as a camp stove.
Dry.
Nanny berries burn if they're dry.
Thanks for the tip.
Anything
Is there?
You never know.
Why out here right now?
All right, so we've prepared this big can with a hole that's big enough to let this can through, and then we've cut a hole in this can to let this through. So the assembly goes like this, and you won't have to remember this
Honey, we can't
because your
see you.
There's a diagram.
diagram will work. And then you take
Oh, okay.
another soup can and split it, cut it in half, and then split it, make it smaller, so that it'll go inside the other. And this is the top end. This is the top end of the chimney from your firebox. So you need this.
That's cool.
Okay, so now you see the pieces resembled. And
Or you
then,
could just use a taller can.
Can of baked
Where's
beans.
my
Gallery
phone?
out here.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
MJB baked beans.
That's right.
So what we're gonna do here, okay, everybody,
Troublemakers.
guys, what we're
Yeah.
gonna do here, this is important, because if you don't do this right, you're gonna burn your house down.
Yeah.
Or at least your deck.
Or the deck.
In the house.
What is that?
So this is sand,
Sand.
and it's wet, so that that's
Can you
That's
just
out of
use
your
wet
horseshoe
sandy
cat.
dirt? You have to cover the
You
chimney.
can
Sure.
use anything
That's
that
non-combustible.
you
That
have
won't
that
let
you
the
can
fire
make this out of,
through.
okay? All it is making an insulation barrier, because that's gonna get hot.
Sure.
and you can imagine if the firebox is inside this can, the fire's on the bottom of that tin can. So I put some sand in, and now I'm trying to
Shaking it
shake
down.
it to get it under that bottom can,
Slick.
so that the heat
It
won't.
insulates.
So
Right.
maybe want to maybe
Right.
put a little layer first in, and
And then
Could be.
assemble it.
We'll have to work out for the mass production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe like it's really important to know that you can't use this inside.
Well, we were hoping that we'd inject some common sense in there at some point, but
Well, there you go.
yeah.
Sand trap.
The oxygen.
Yeah.
Use it in the garage with an open window? Could you put it inside your fireplace so if you open
Yes.
it? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so a word about that. And this is important, because this happens every year. I get people calling me up and they're telling me, oh my God, it's not working. You've got to make sure that your fireplace flue is clean. If you haven't used your fireplace in a long time, there's a really good chance that it's not, and it's plugged. If you start a fire in your fireplace and you haven't had one in there for years, I guarantee you're going to fill your house up with smoke, and all the alarms are going to go off if the power's still on, okay?
Good times.
So it's super important. It is super important that you either get up there on the chimney and clean your flue, or have somebody come out. My guys are more than happy to. For $125, they'll clean your chimney. And,
That's a bargain.
Yeah, it is, and they're good, and their license are bonded. But that kind of thing, people, that's what happens in an emergency, where you're going, oh my God, light the fire, and you start
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
fire, and then
dump
you fill the
this.
house up with smoke. Instead of things getting better, they just got a lot worse.
I'm going to dump the excess sand out of the firebox.
Oh, wow, you're good. Look at
So I
that.
put the lid on it, which was the lid that you're supposed to cut out of the thing, but the little spool.
So you took you made a hole in the middle of, where'd you get this? What is, oh, that's part of the can.
Remember, that's he cut that can in half and he made a chimney out of it. And
You didn't
stuffed
watch
into
him
the
do
other
it?
can.
That is cool.
That is cool.
That is cool. We are impressed,
Do you have
Lee.
the pliers?
I do, sir.
Wow, that's cool.
So he's got 2 cans, and that top one's a chimney, and then this piece is on top of the sand. So now what he's done, he's made a really nice insulated burner.
That
Okay.
would impress anybody.
Yeah, wow.
How much could you sell those for?
It's a supply and demand
Everybody
issue.
knows how to make them. I can't sell them for shit.
Yeah, it's a supply and demand function.
Yeah, you blow it
We just
all.
wait till the demand's high.
Grab the pliers and begin the bendage.
It was the lid.
So we're gonna bend what is
Without
it.
any holes.
And you want them bent in?
Lids usually aren't.
So you're gonna secure that lid, kind of, huh?
Notice
Well, that
who's
creates-
gonna cut their finger if I, not me.
A couple more slits in the side there will help
Yeah,
help
those are
make
so
that
big.
a little quicker.
No, I imagine the engineer had something.
This is crash, baby.
Marshmallows.
all those skills from children's church, we know what happens when you get older. You're building stoves. Build starts with paper plates.
They like that, wouldn't they?
So what we're doing here, everybody,
Really?
3 things a fire needs. 3 things a fire has to have. Absolutely has to have.
Oxygen,
Fuel,
and heat.
ignition.
Right. Oxygen, fuel, and heat. If you deprive the fire of any one of those 3 things, it ain't gonna work. It doesn't matter who.
So we bend it down in somewhat less than elegant fashion. And we put these, I swiped these from Kathy's microwave grill.
Oh my God, you're knocking out
And
this ball.
I need help putting wires
You wouldn't
in.
necessarily have to do it this way, but it was just a kind of a idea there.
It's a style function. Yeah.
Yeah.
To look sharp.
You could probably
Now,
use yours.
I'm just waiting for you to,
There you
yeah.
go.
Just waiting for him to stab himself in the finger here.
It ain't gonna happen.
Okay, then,
Professional, step aside.
There you go. Well, if they get superior,
John Gurmy, could you fill about this much water in that for me?
Are you
Put out the porch
anticipating?
fire?
Yeah, right.
Okay, I think you're ready. Now you're on.
I'm on.
Now you're on. Good luck.
Light the fire. You're doing so darn good.
Okay.
Okay.
Fire extinguisher handy. Do you have extinguisher?
Yes.
Yeah. It won't catch out here. I think we're pretty
So
safe.
everybody knows, and most of you know this, but just in case, see this small stuff? That's what you use to
It's
start.
dry.
Okay? The small stuff, right? Kindling. Well, that's actually not kindling.
Shavings, yeah.
That's shavings.
Shavings.
And then this is the real small kindling, and then it gets bigger.
Okay.
You start with small, a
Yep.
little bit bigger.
Yep.
This is important, okay? Because you don't want the thing to go out 3 times.
Okay, I bet I rumbled up a half a sheet of printer paper. John.
How much do you want?
He's afraid of a fire.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then
It's gonna take a few
dump
days.
the fuel in the top.
Little shavings, right?
Oh, in the.
Oh, in the top. Okay, right
Well,
down the
this is
chimney.
that's
You'll also be able to sell your recycled newspapers for a pretty nice price. When
Actually, it only took a half a page, and then
people are like, "Crud, I was throwing those away. It'd be like silver dimes."
yeah.
I give them to the recycle for free.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna sell them back to you for a pretty good price with my little
So
stove.
the idea here is
More when
to
you run out of toilet paper.
have a way to get air in. We
That's
need
what the phone book's
hot air
for.
to come out.
Never.
Right.
That's
So
what I'm saving.
go ahead and light it.
Seriously.
You're using a lighter? You're not gonna use.
No, we're not.
Rub 2 sticks together, man.
Hey, buying a bunch of these is being prepared.
Yeah.
There you go.
You get to the flint part later.
Yeah.
I
I see smoke. And as my son says, where there's smoke, there's fire.
That's right. There should be plenty of draft
I
in
should
there.
have took it when he was building it, though.
I know, we'll do it at least done, because it's pretty cute.
So we've got a windsock out there that only tells
Yeah,
about
it's a
the
test.
ambient air, not the backdrafts. So
Well,
watch
you
out
got
for.
smoke, you must have fire.
We're getting
This
there.
little piece of paper kind of advanced.
Cardboard.
Yeah.
Use cardboard next time. It burns a lot longer.
Well, you still got to get the initial. He's a professional. Just
In my
Well, a little
pocket.
cardboard in the bottom, little paper on top of it, and a little
Yeah.
paneling.
Barb, we're fire people every day.
Camp outside.
No, we have a
What's-
trash burner in our kitchen that heats our house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it works pretty darn good, and you can cook on it.
You can cook on it, we flat.
Well, the idea
Corrugated
though,
cardboard.
you know how a fire
That's right.
needs
There we
air.
go.
No, it's a little.
So there's a shelf.
Use a Kinley.
We didn't put the shelf in, but this is a fuel shelf that goes into the fire chamber like this. And that's gonna always hold an air chamber open below the wood, and then you'll put your wood in, but he can't have much, you don't want any long ones in there, Mark.
Okay.
We gotta, now we
Go
gotta
like that?
feed,
Okay.
Oh, I
From the
see.
side.
You feed the fuel. It's like a firebox for a locomotive. That's pretty slick.
so now
Conveyor belt.
we have begun.
And how you know your fire's working? Can you hear that?
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't hear that crackle, the wood's not burning, which means you got nothing. You got to hear that crackle. I don't have to sound like much, but it's true. You want to hear that crackle because then you know the wood is being ignited. And see, we've got ignition here, and that's really cool. I mean, that really is because we haven't practiced this. This is the first one.
Okay, while this one is boiling the water, I wanna build a second stove with Leonard's help.
Come on, Leonard, you can do it.
How did I get volunteered?